Hello everyone and welcome back to another Black Desert video. So today I wanted to talk about a topic that I see floating around quite a lot, and it is the best life skills for casual players and people who don't have a lot of time in this game. Now, BDO is actually a game where you sink a lot of time into it, but with that said, I'm going to talk about all the life skills and, you know, how easy it or difficult it is to get set up and stuff that you guys can do for like an hour. Let's say you have a 30 minutes to an hour or a few hours a day, and something that I think that would be easy for you guys to get into. So as we all know, life skills in this game really are dependent on what kind of gear you have, how much mastery, and, you know, a lot of other factors as well. But I think we're going to talk about stuff that people can do, just like, you know, you log in, you maybe have 30 minutes to an hour a day. These are easy things. So let's go down the list, starting with gathering. Now, I think gathering is actually one of the easiest life skills and probably the most profitable overall, just because gathering is one of the life skills that you need to do that connects with other ones. So like, for example, gathering, fishing, and hunting, you gain raw materials, right? And then you turn those raw materials into higher tier ones by cooking, alchemy, processing. So these are all connected in one way, and then we'll talk about the others in a minute. But gathering is something that you can start like on day one if you wanted to. Obviously, if you're a beginner, you're going to make less silver than someone who has maxed out gear and everything. However, I think this is super beginner and casual friendly, simply because it's something that, you know, it's a lot of people will always need raw materials. Endgame players will take those materials, turn it into items, and then either resell it or use it. So you guys can do it too. But I also think that how in-depth you want to go with it, like you get the raw materials, you could sell it on the market, or you could do a little bit more research and turn it into higher tier materials, is all on you. So I think gathering is probably the first life skill that everyone should do. And, you know, it's just something that you're gonna need forever. Someone needs to do it. And let's talk a little bit more on like how gathering works. It may sound as simple as, you know, oh, I just chop a tree. So in terms of this, there are, I guess, 6 different life skill tools over here. So there's lumbering, fluid collecting, the hoe, butcher knife, canning, and the pickaxe. And all of these are gathering different materials, right? And the ones that give more silver usually are the more profitable ones, and there's some that you specifically need to go out of your way to get. So if you are going for XP, probably the hoe is the best one you're going to be doing, and then maybe pickaxe or mining stuff. If you're going for materials to do cooking, alchemy, processing, butcher knife and fluid collecting is probably the important ones. And if you like doing a lot of self-crafting yourself, lumbering and tanning for other things. But it really just depends on what you like doing, and that's about it. So yeah, I have a more in-depth video of like everything, best spots that I like to do for all of these, what they're used for. But that was just a basic example to keep this video a little bit lighter, and that's pretty interesting to know. All right, so fishing. Over the past few months, they buffed fishing, and the way they did that is they added some new fish into the game that's worth hundreds of millions of silver, and up to 1 billion, and then that's why everyone fishes now. It's a lot of silver, and if you keep your game on overnight while you're sleeping, you come back and you're just like, oh, at least 1 billion silver more overnight, depending on your gear, of course. But like for people like moderately established, it's pretty decent. And even though like you wake up, you just come back from doing nothing, come back even with a couple 100 million silver, that's always good. Higher end players get more. So I have a video talking about the best fishing spots that I have done. The one I'm at right now, I would consider this a beginner friendly one. I just had to park myself somewhere to test it. And then in another video I have, I talked about all different other spots and how it's good and everything else. So yeah, with that said, fishing is actually good now. All you have to do is get a fishing rod and then just go fishing. Obviously, it's more in depth than that, but that's the basics of it. And finding the right spots is up to you. And they've actually been adding a lot of quality of life in the past few months in terms of, like, you know, people who like collecting stuff, you know, they are adding like a journal so you can see what you have, and then everything else is kind of like real life. It's cool, I think. So fishing in a nutshell is very profitable. If you want to read or if you want to watch a video more in depth on how to make a lot of silver, what kind of materials and gear you need, you can watch all that as well. We talk about like lightstones, artifacts, and more beginner to intermediate to end game stuff as well. So to keep this one short, I'll leave a link in the description. Next, we have hunting. Hunting is low-key actually a lot of silver. However, it's not an AFK activity. Hunting is in two forms. So let me just show you. Where is my... Is this it? No, that's not it. It's my guardian. So there's two different forms of hunting. There is matchlock hunting, and then there is sniper rifle hunting. So if you're just trying to level up fast, I would say the easier one to do is probably down in the hunting area in Narcion. So a video that I had is how to get from like beginner all the way to like guru or whatever. Just like you could just stay here forever if you want to. And this one just has a lot of easy beginner friendly enemies, and like I would consider it cheaper to invest in. Just because like you can actually just get here, whereas land in the morning light is, you know, a little bit out of the way, not beginner friendly. But yeah, so this area down here by Odraxia is a very good starter spot. And then if you're thinking about, where is it? Doing sniper hunting, it's down here. So basically two different kinds of hunting. You get materials and then you turn those materials into something else, right? So that makes sense. Yeah, but low-key hunting, if you're good at it, you make a lot of silver compared to, you know, like mid-tier grind spots. So I heard it's about like 2 to 3 billion silver an hour sniper rifle hunting. I have not tested that, but that's what I've heard. But either way, it's kind of like a breath of fresh air from your generic grinding and everything. So yeah, it's kind of cool. Cooking. Cooking is probably one of the most contested life skills, simply because, like, if you find a recipe that's worth making and you're making a lot of profit and then someone else finds that recipe, suddenly your profits go down. So it's kind of one of those things that's easy to learn but hard to master and maintain, simply because, like, you know, there's a lot of competition with other life skillers. There's, you know, a lot of knowledge that you already need to know how to do. So, for example, a lot of cooking recipes, for example, let's take meals, for example. It tells you what kind of meals or like materials you need, but then you have to actually make it. So then you have to kind of, gather all this stuff yourself or have nodes already established. So it's one of those things that I think it's not a bad idea to start. I would consider cooking one of the highest silver per hour if you are good at it and, you know, you're kind of geared. But I think it is also something good for beginners as well, simply because as you do it more, you just learn the basics and everything. So like eventually at the end game, like if you are proficient at cooking and you know what you're doing, you're suddenly making a lot of silver. So yeah. With that said, on the other side, there's alchemy. Alchemy it's good, but it's a little bit less profitable simply because like you can't alchemy stuff as fast as cooking. And like it's really, you're selling end game materials, like for example, elixirs, harmony drafts, and perfumes to end game players who grind a lot. So there's a less limited, or what is it? There's more things you can make with cooking that is profitable for more people, whereas alchemy, there's a less amount of stuff that people want. However, it's probably good to start learning this eventually. I don't think it's beginner or casual friendly because you have to have a good setup. But if you do any of these three, cooking is probably the easiest one. And then processing. Processing is literally an AFK activity. So you know how you have workers on your nodes, right? And then they bring, you know, your materials back to your town, wherever, easy. You set it up to process your materials. Let me just show you an example. So let's take these timbers. Let's pretend these are tier 1 materials, like the basic ones you can gather yourself, you can get from nodes. You can process them. You could process like maple timber, for example. You could turn them into maple planks. Let's call these tier 2 materials. So X amount of timbers equals X amount of planks. And then you could process those even further, turn it into plywood. Let's call these tier 3 materials. These are the ones that people use for crafting and everything, or other life skill exchanges. So that's where profit comes in. The higher your mastery, the more you more process you can make, and then the higher proc chance you can get. So yeah, that's processing in a nutshell. It's really an AFK activity. You set something to process, you come back like in 15 minutes because your inventory is full or your weight limit's full, you reset it, you do it again. It's super easy. So if you do any of these, process, easy. So super casual, super easy to learn. Training. We all know that one person that really likes horses in their lives. Do you like training horses? This is literally it. At some point, like, training it's kind of an AFK activity, but also not. Like, horses is still the main source of transportation in this game, but at the same time, people need to sell horses so people can just buy it if you want to. And in a nutshell, you set your horse to go from point A to point B and then back, and you get your horse all the skills and everything, level it up to the max. The higher your level is, the better stats your horse gets. Then you can sell it for more silver, and that's like horse training in a nutshell. Obviously, it goes into more detail than that with higher gear and mastery, but that's about it. Catch horse, train horse. Horse is good, it sells for a lot. Horse is bad, it doesn't sell for a lot. But yeah, that's about it. Trading. So there used to be multiple ways of trading in this game. They used to have one where an NPC in town would sell a trade good. You'd bring trade good from point A to point B. And then, like, the further the distance, the more profit you get. So let me give you an example. If you were to buy a material from Heidel and then you exchange it in Velia, the profit is not as much. But if you get a material from, like, Grana and send it all the way to, like, Valencia, more profit. However, that is disabled. It's been like that for a year because they're trying to rework that part. However, there's a lot of things that you could do now. Down in here, we have a new system called Royal Workshops. You set a worker on this, you make whatever node, or not node, but like material, get these stuff, you can exchange it to trade vendors, and then you get easy profit. So basically, you do a barter, like a mini barter exchange game, and then profit goes up. You know that stonks meme? Yeah, like that. Yeah, free money, essentially. So trading is basically getting a crate, or like, what is it, in town. I don't think I have any, but either way, there's something like you'll find, I don't actually know off the top of my head what it would be, but like basically in town, there's a crate manager or a house that you can do, right? And you make a crate out of the materials you made, you know, so like processing, right? And then you turn that crate into a trade manager, and then the trait or the crate that you make will have the origin of like where you made it. So like, let's say you made a box in Heidel, you want to transport that crate to the farthest distance for the max profit. Is trading worth it in this game? I mean, like, compared to other things, not really. It's something you do on the side when you realize, oh, I have a lot of materials in my storage, I should do something with it. And that's when you do it. So it takes a lot of investment, but it's not something you do on a regular. Farming is literally farming. There's multiple uses. So what I have is I have some farms down here. You could check it with your garden icon, and basically you set, you know, various crops and stuff, and then you let it grow over time. You can actively prune it, or you could put workers on it to do that yourself. And then you get, when it goes to 100, you can harvest the crop. You get some materials, you sell the materials, or you could get some other items. So this is one of those things where you just kind of set it, and then when number hits 100%, you harvest it, and then you reset it again. So it's not really something you do. It's just like every couple times a day you check on it, and you're like, oh, okay, let's get some stuff. Now, sailing and bartering is ocean content, as you may imagine. In this game, the ocean is actually pretty large, and if you've ever come from another MMO, you're probably like, ocean content, okay, generic stuff. And I feel like in this game, it's a little bit different, because ocean content feels like you're playing a different game. Like in BDO, pretend like, for example, there's 3 different routes you can go if you want to start this game. PvE and PvP, you get gear for that. If you're a life skiller, you go down the life skill path. And if you're a sailor, you need life skill gear and you need boat gear. So it's like you're gearing for 2 different purposes. And so your goal as a sailor is to basically get the best boat in the game, get the best gear in the game. Like, what is it? Where would it be? Under your ship, you could get your boats here. You could get the new best ones that are sellable, and you could buy all these different boat gears and everything. So yeah, I think it's interesting to do. I have a couple of videos if you want to see what it's like doing end game boat stuff, which is mostly just sailing, navigating the ocean. You learn a lot in the ocean, I will say that. But is this something that is easy to learn and you have a lot of time to do? I think so. I think you can do a lot of stuff in like a 1 hour period. If you like, you know how when you're grinding, you generally grind in 1 hour blocks, because that's how long your buffs last. Like scrolls are like 1 hour's periods. So with that said, I think if you only had an hour, you can get a certain number of stuff like done for bartering. You just get materials like from point A to B, and then let's show you how this works. There's different materials. You exchange your normal items that you can get from anywhere. You exchange it for a level 1 item that is for ocean bartering. You trade 1 to 2, 2 to 3, and so on. And then you learn about all different things. So yeah, I think that's actually pretty cool. And ocean content is like a different game than land content, but I think it's worth trying. And even if you're like short on time, I think it's one of those things where you could just park and then, you know, just come back and resume it as you go on. So I think it's super friendly for people on a time limit. So as a recap, what are some easy things for beginners? Gathering is super easy. Fishing is kind of a AFK activity. Hunting, it requires a little bit of an investment just because you need the materials to start it and you need some gear. However, the investment does pay off very quickly. So I think it's overall very solid. Cooking, alchemy, processing are semi-AFK. You get the materials from these 3, turn it into these 3, and then you're good. If you like horses and, you know, you like seeing horse number get bigger, then training might be fun. Trading is one of those things where you just kind of do, like, it's in the back of your mind, but same with farming. And then sailing and bartering, do you like being in the ocean? You're playing a different game than everyone else. So yeah, that's about it. Those are my tips for all of you. If you're a beginner and you're just trying to like try out everything, I would say it's a good idea. Those are the tips that I'd give you and stuff I'd recommend. But yeah, overall, I'll leave a link in the description to a couple of videos that I made on beginner life skills and how to go about getting started with it. And I think those will be super helpful for all of you guys. So if any of these caught your attention and you don't know where to go from there, you can ask a question in the comments. I'll try to get back to you on that one. And yeah, that's about it. So thanks so much for watching. Hope you guys have a fantastic day. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. I'd love to see you guys come back. And I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.